Hello everyone, my name is Andrew AJT and welcome to my 16-star speedrun of Super Mario 64 on the original Wii Virtual Console. So, just taking a little bit of a break from OSRS this week, we'll get back to it next week, but a couple months ago I did a 70-star speedrun of this game with commentary, and it was pretty well received and it was really fun to make as well, so I figured let's do another one here. This time a little bit of a shorter run, a 16-star speedrun, and I'm also going to show some glitches and tricks at the end just for fun. So this is post-commentary just like last time. I'm not playing this in real time, although this was recorded in a single segment. Like last time, I didn't do a ton of preparation for this. I'm not running this for a competitive time. This is more of a fun run, although I do have some idea what I'm doing because I played this game on and off for quite a long time now. So if you haven't seen my 70-star speedrun from a couple months ago, I'll link it down below. I go into some more of my history with the game and stories and things like that about the game, which I won't repeat here, but you don't need to watch that one to watch this one, or vice versa. I have plenty of other things to talk about here. So again, I'm not doing some minor tricks here, which would save a bit of time just because I haven't practiced them in quite a long time. You can skip this Lakitu. My goal for this run is just to beat the game in under 30 minutes. So if you've never seen a 16-star speedrun of this game, you're in for a bit of a treat because there are quite a few interesting tricks you have to do to beat the game with 16 stars. If you haven't played Mario 64 in a while, you might not remember that. There's 120 stars total in this game, and normally you need at least 70 to complete it. So there's actually several glitches we can make use of to beat the game with only 16 stars. Now, it's actually possible to beat the game with 0 stars, although it requires some pretty precise BLJs. A BLJ is a backwards long jump, which you'll be seeing plenty of. Those are actually banned in 70 stars, so you didn't get to see any in that run, and you'll get to see plenty in this run. So as I mentioned in the start of the video, this is played on the original Wii Virtual Console, not the Wii U. The Wii U version is not very good. It has a lot of problems. The screen is just darker. The controls have input lag. It's really not a good version. The Wii version is fairly good. It's a little bit darker than the N64 one, but as I mentioned in the previous video, the resolution is doubled, which is quite nice, and the fact that you can use a GameCube controller is really great as well. A couple things I do want to repeat from the previous run is the Wii version has faster lag and loading times, so that actually saves you a little bit of time in the speedrun. Also, the backwards long jump does work on the English Wii Virtual Console version, which I'm playing here. It does not work on the Japanese Wii Virtual Console version or the new Nintendo Switch 3D All-Stars version, because those games are based on the final N64 release of Mario 64, which is the Japanese Shindo version, which did change some small things about the game, including patching BLJs. But as far as I know, Nintendo didn't really go out of their way to patch BLJ for the Switch version. It just happened to be that they picked the most recent version of the game on N64, which does have BLJ patched. So you can ground pound right through this guy to save some time, and if you remember the location of the star, you can save a little bit of time because it will always spawn in the same spot. I've never taken the time to remember all of them, but I actually had a good sense of where this one was, and I got it there. So the way this run goes is you basically just want to collect 15 stars and beat the first Bowser as fast as possible, and then all the magic starts happening. So I don't own a Switch currently, but I do want to talk about some of the complaints people have had about Mario 3D All-Stars, which is of course the collection of Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy on the Switch. And I've seen a lot of people saying that it looks kind of underwhelming, because for one thing, there's no Galaxy 2, which I really don't understand, because if you're going to take the time to update and polish Galaxy, why would you not include Galaxy 2? Super Mario Galaxy 2 is known for having a very interesting development cycle, and I don't know if that played into it. it is disappointing to not have it in the collection. It does have the soundtracks of 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy 1 built in though, which you can listen to. The big thing that really disappointed me is they messed with the controls. I don't remember how it works with Mario Galaxy, but with Mario Sunshine and Mario 64, the cameras work in a very interesting way. The way it's kind of almost explained in the game or shown is, at least for Mario 64, that Lakitu is there behind you holding the camera, and when you press C left, he goes to Mario's left, and you can see the right side of the screen. And a lot of people would call this camera inverted. I don't actually consider it inverted because it makes sense. When you press C left, Lakitu is going to Mario's left, so you can see more of the right side of the screen. But for some reason, they decided to invert the camera controls, or uninvert them, depending on how you see it. And there was no toggle to change them back, so if you had muscle memory of the camera in Mario Sunshine or 64, and again, I'm not sure how Galaxy works, you would be totally thrown off trying to play 3D All-Stars because on the camera now left is right and right is left, and I would just probably never get used to that or never even try. I'm sure it's not a problem for many people who haven't played the games in a long time or have never played them at all. But if you were used to the old way, there's really no reason why they should make you learn this new camera controls and not have a toggle either. Recently though, they announced they're going to be making a patch, which should be out by the time I put up this video, where you can toggle it back to the original camera. I just don't see why it wasn't like that in the first place. I'm very happy that they're finally addressing it, but it just seems like if you're going to mess with something in the original, at least have an option to change it back, especially with the controls. I also don't like that it's a limited release. The game is only being sold through March 31st, 2021, which I really see no reason to do that. And that's even on the eShop, so I could understand maybe doing a limited physical copy release, but why would you take it off the eShop for no reason? That just makes no sense to me and feels like it creates unnecessary scarcity of the game. I know there were issues in the past with things like amiibos, and I don't know why that happened with amiibos. I just remember a lot of people had trouble finding the amiibos they wanted. That one I can understand a little bit more though, because maybe they don't know how many amiibos they need to produce. That's just speculation though, I'm not sure why exactly that was a problem. But in this case, I don't really see the point of removing an eShop download. There were also some missed opportunities, like they could have made Mario 64 in widescreen, and in general you would expect to see some more overhauling of all three games to give them some more quality of life improvements, and maybe even more features. Like, I was so sure that they would do something with Luigi in Mario 64. Maybe if you got all 120 stars, you could go to the statue and unlock him or something. That would be so amazing. However, all we got really in the end was just the 3 games re-released on the Switch with mostly just graphical improvements and some other small changes. With that being said, I'm sure I would enjoy 3D All-Stars because it's still 3 of the best games ever made and 3 of my favorite games ever made in high quality and portable, so there's still lots of appeal to it, especially if you've never played any of the games before. So for the 16-star speedrun, I'm mostly focusing on some of the quicker stars to get here. You have to get 8 stars to unlock the first Bowser level, although you can actually BLJ to get in there early. Regardless of that, you need to get 15 stars total for the Mips bunny to appear in the basement, which is really key to getting to the second Bowser early. This is a star most people probably wouldn't get when doing a 16-star run, but it's relatively fast and very easy, so I figured I would include it here. Of course, we can take the shortcut, which saves a little bit of time. You could also probably jump from a higher part of the slide to the lower part, but I wasn't sure where to land for that, so I decided just to use the built-in shortcut. I did do a practice run of this beforehand without a timer, and just like practicing the tricks multiple times, so I had a little bit of an idea of what I was doing here as far as the route. But I didn't practice for too long. I just wanted to make sure I knew what stars to go for and had the route in my head memorized. So this was kind of odd. This is the second time it happened in this run, opening the very edge of the door. It happened with the Womp's Fortress door as well. It might have changed my position or camera here, I'm not sure, as far as entering the level. So I decided to go for the red coins here just because I'm having to do this level anyway. They're kind of annoying, especially this second one here. This first red coin is very easy, but it's kind of tricky to, like, get on this box and get off quickly enough and not fall. So I'm glad it worked out okay there. This was messy, but I used a trick here as a backup where you can jump back up slopes and use the kick to get some more height, and I was able to grab the ledge there. So these are some really fun long jumps for these red coins here. You can go back and forth rather than having to take that winding path for that center platform. So I was pretty cautious at times in this run because if you fall and die, that can waste a lot of time. So I wanted to make sure that did not happen, so I took my time with certain jumps, especially around here. The speedrunners who are really pro at this game are quite amazing with this level. They're grabbing the coin and jumping during this cutscene, which would totally throw me off if I didn't practice it. I didn't actually expect that Goomba to be there, but thankfully it wasn't an issue. Here is star number 10. The first Bowser fight is pretty routine unless you really mess up. I actually started using a method where you kind of sync Bowser up with your control stick, so when Bowser's in front of Mario, you want the control stick to be facing forward, and when Bowser's to the left, you want to have the control stick facing left when you're about to throw him. So it gives you a little bit more of an idea of your aim, rather than just having to rely on visuals. It still can be pretty tricky, though, to get those Bowser throws, although the first one is fairly consistent. So we have some more quick stars to get down here. You actually get a decent amount of variety in this run. For only getting 16 stars, you get to see several stages, which I think is really cool. The 0 and 1 star runs are very cool to watch, but there's not too much content to them, whereas this run is kind of full of content in a very short period of time. So this was almost a huge disaster. I don't remember ever failing that initial triple jump in my life, and somehow I did there, and I nearly lost a life right there. But thankfully, crisis averted. The backup was just to go to the other side and try again. And this time, it wasn't perfect, but I was able to make my way back up here and grab Shining atop the pyramid. So let's head to Lethal Lava Land, and there's a very quick red coin star here. So they did update several textures in 3D All-Stars, and this puzzle is one of them. There's a much more clear picture of Bowser in it. They also updated the HUD, like the star counter, coins, and lives and all that. it does look much cleaner. So next, let's head to Hazy Maze Cave. There's a couple stars that are very quick there, and we can also grab a free star from Toad. So for this, we're actually going to use an out-of-bounds clip here to make our way over the wall and into the cavern. So this was almost a huge time loss as well. If you drift incorrectly after doing the wall kick, you can lose a life. Thankfully that did not happen, but I missed the platform. But I think one thing that was fairly positive about this run is my backups were decent. When I messed up a trick or something, it didn't go spiraling out of control. I was able to correct it and finish the star without too many more problems. It's very easy in this game to make a small mistake and it turns into a disaster where you just fall and die or lose a ton of time. So we just need one more star for Mips to appear, and there's a very quick one out in the open with watch for rolling rocks. This was a weird moment. I don't know why I didn't do another long jump to get onto this ledge. I didn't even attempt to do it, I just started walking there, and thankfully it worked out. When you understand how slopes work in this game, it's very useful because you can just get a good sense of when Mario's about to start sliding down or when you can jump and salvage the situation. So we have our star number 15, and now Mips is going to be around here somewhere. And I'm always really bad at catching him. How did this go this time? Went a bit too far there. His path is not really random. He goes kind of in set directions, so you can have an idea of where he's going to end up when he goes into a corner. So I believe he goes on the right side of this wall here. There we go. So this is a 16-star speedrun, and you would think if you've never seen this before that that is star number 16, but we're actually going to ignore it. It's not going to help us at all. The reason this is a 16-star speedrun is the 16th star is just required. So we actually can clip into this door here with Mips and bring him through. So Mips is in an area where he's not normally supposed to be. And we could do the same trick again to get through this door. This is the 30-star door. And we saw the message there that we need 30 stars, but with the Mips clip, we are already on the other side. So this is the final star of the run, which we have to get. So this entrance to Dire Docks is blocking the Bowser and the Fire Sea entrance. And we just have to grab the first star here, board Bowser's sub to make the entrance of Dire Docks go backwards. So we can enter the Bowser and the Fire Sea. So on the N64 version, the game would lag quite a bit here, but on VC it runs pretty smoothly. Can do a triple jump off the slope, and quickly get over here to grab the star. So now we just have 2 Bowser stages left. Bowser in the Fire Sea and in the sky. And at this point we don't need to collect any more stars whatsoever, so you can ignore the red coins here. Those platforms that I just crossed that sink into the lava, the 3 pyramid-shaped ones, they have a unique property on the Wii Virtual Console version. There's some glitch where if the game is left on for a long time in this level, those platforms will actually begin to rise, and if it's left for days, they can actually go quite high in the air. It's a weird glitch unique to the Wii Virtual Console version. I don't know if it actually happens on the Wii U or Switch versions, but it definitely does not happen on the original N64 one. I wouldn't recommend trying it though, because it's probably not a good idea to leave the console on for that long. So we got 10 minutes to defeat the next two Bowsers to finish up. This Bowser again is fairly standard. I think you don't even need to spin him around for this long. But nevertheless, a pretty accurate throw. There is a fair amount of leeway on the throws, but it's just difficult to know where Bowser is going to end up when you let go. I've always liked all these cool camera angles you see when Mario picks up the key. So next we're going to re-enter the level and redo it. Just kidding, it's quicker to exit course. So we're going upstairs with just 16 stars. Normally you need at least 31 to get up here. Do this little clip to skip these stairs, partially. And here's the first BLJ. So if you long jump in place and then move backwards with your long jumps and mash A, you can actually speed up the stairs very quickly and gain speed, which allows you to speed past the door. It took me a few tries here. So this is where you would get stuck on the Switch version if you tried this run, because of the no BLJ. There is actually technically another way to get past here, with a glitch involving wall kicks, where you can do a rapid series of frame-perfect wall kicks to gain speed, but a human can't really do that glitch in real time. You would only really see that in tool-assisted speedruns for the most part. This is actually the harder of the two BLJs you're about to see, because you have a limited stairway space to work with. The second one is on the infinite stairs, so that one is very easy to keep trying. There we go. Almost enough speed, and had to do one or two more long jumps there just to get the final boost. The BLJ is definitely one of the most iconic glitches in really all of video games, in my opinion. So this one I think went very well. Pretty much no problem here. So final Bowser level, just have to not die, and you can tell I was being pretty careful here. Probably overly cautious. Of course, if I was ever to run this seriously, I would probably go for more risky strats. One thing I forgot to mention, and I don't think we're going to see it here, is there's actually a way to kind of reset the camera in this game that not many people know about. Sometimes people have a problem with the camera in Mario 64 when Mario falls from a really high place, and the camera kind of gets stuck in the air, and you can actually quickly go to Mario Cam and go back to Lakitu Cam to mostly reset this. So there are some tricks you can do to make the camera more manageable. I usually defend the Mario 64 camera, even though it is not perfect. I think it's pretty good for its time. I did play some Super Mario Sunshine recently though, and the camera in that game is fantastic, so by comparison, certainly Mario 64 has a much worse camera. Sunshine has an analog camera, and you can really zoom out and zoom in much more freely. I've actually found Sunshine's movement to be very good recently because I've learned how to better use the spin jump, which probably I didn't do very much when I was playing it growing up. There's actually a way to buffer the spin jump by jumping forward and spinning the control stick right before you hit the ground. Then when you jump, you can do the spin jump that goes directly forward, and it's much easier to control if you hold forward during the jump. Knowing that really makes the platforming in that game very manageable and enjoyable, especially with the hover nozzle. I kind of messed up a bunch of these throws here, so I did want to take this time to talk about a few things I forgot to mention. Something I only learned recently was if you jump off a Shy Guy or a Spin Drift and go into that spinning animation where you can kind of glide, if you hold the A button, you actually spin faster and therefore you descend slower and can go farther. That's a really cool thing I didn't know. I also want to mention a couple of mechanics I've used in this run most likely that I didn't address specifically at the time. If you want to do a really quick triple jump, it's good to do a jump kick as your first jump because you get back to the ground faster. You can do that by pressing A and B at the same time or holding A and pressing B. Also, if you want to do a triple jump dive, if you want the maximum distance, it's actually good to delay the dive very slightly. It's hard to know the perfect timing for it, but for most other jumps you want to do your dive right away, so it's cool that the triple jump is a little bit different in that regard. Also, perhaps I was a bit too harsh on the Wii U and Switch versions. The Wii U version does have customizable controls and a save state feature, which is very cool. It's probably okay for casual playthroughs, and also you could speedrun on it if you really wanted to. So as you're seeing, the Bowser fight in this run did not go great. I wasn't really nervous or anything, but I was knowing that the finish line was so close, and I guess I was trying to rush the throws too much. It's actually not incredibly rare to see a top runner miss a Bowser throw, although it's not very common either. It's just something that's hard to get 100% consistent at. I know some runners actually switch their controllers for Bowser throws. It helps a little bit to use the Mario cam zoomed out for the throw, and the Lakitu cam for grabbing his tail. Just need one more, and of course this is the hardest one because all of the little platforms fall down here. This is a really bad position to make the throw from because it was right in the center. So overall this run was not amazing, but it could have gone much worse. There were no super huge mistakes, and overall for basically a one attempt speedrun, I think it went okay. So I'm happy with it. Maybe I'll do a 120 star next at some point, although that would be quite a long playthrough, so no promises, but let me know if that's something you would be interested in. So I actually took a moment there to position my hand over the live split button, which actually cost me $26.59. Of course, if I was taking this more seriously, I would think of a setup where that wouldn't be an issue. But otherwise, that was a very fun speedrun, and it's time for the glitch exhibition. So if you're familiar with Mario 64 glitches, you may have seen some of these before. But this one is a very famous one. I'm about to go where no Mario brother has gone before, into a parallel universe. So if you BLJ to get out of bounds and gain quite a bit of speed, you can actually enter one of these many PUs, which are these weird areas out of bounds, which are basically copies of the level, except they contain no objects or enemies and are very dark. There's also this weird shadow texture that goes over Mario at certain points, which you saw there. So there's not a whole lot to do here, but there are many of these surrounding the level, and it's very bizarre that these exist. There's so many complicated details which I don't even understand about how these work, and they are actually used in tool-assisted speedruns of certain challenges. A very cool glitch overall. Normally you need 120 stars to get up on top of the castle with the cannon, but with even 0 stars you can do a good triple jump into a sliding jump to make it up here with any amount of stars. And you can actually get on the very tip top of the castle with some good jumps here. For some reason on this side you can run up the wall and make it all the way to the top. On the medium level here, you can run up the wall and fall through and enter the Black Room of Death, which you can actually kind of be stuck in here. The door will only take you to an out-of-bounds area, as will going back outside, but you can walk through that wall to get into the lobby. There's a second way to get up on top of the castle early. On the left side here, you can do another triple jump off the slope, and with a series of fast jumps, you can make it all the way up here. Now, many people don't know this, but Yoshi actually has a spelling error. Mario That really you. You do still need 120 stars for Yoshi to appear. The developers originally wanted Yoshi to be in Wet Dry World, but they scrapped him and ended up using his model here, but you can still find Yoshi's egg in the game's code. So only certain BLJs are useful for speedruns, but there are many throughout the game, which can be done for fun, like you saw there. So that's all I have for today. I will link the 70-star run in the description if you want to see it, and let me know if you want to see a 120-star run. If I do a 120-star run, I will link it as well. Regardless of whether I do or not, I'll probably make a Mario playlist with at least this run and the 70-star run. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram down below. And if you want to support the channel even further, you can check out my Patreon page in the end screen. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next week.